What happens when love is stronger than time itself? Yet fate demands its final price? Dark clouds roll over the Scottish highlands. The sound of wind rushes through the stones at Craigh. A haunting voice echoes, "Every journey must find its end." The camera glides over the misty Scottish hills, their green slopes soaked in rain. The sound of distant drums fades into the beat of a heart. This is not just scenery. This is the land that has carried Jamie and Claire through love, war, and centuries of separation. A land that has always demanded something in return. The voiceover speaks softly but with weight. From the very first touch of the stones, time itself was broken. Two lives, forever bound together, no matter the century, no matter the cost. Images flicker across the screen. A hand brushing over rough stone, candlelight flickering on a wooden table, a sword lying in the mud. These are not full faces. These are fragments of a story, symbols of battles already fought and sacrifices already made. The narration continues. Through storms of war, through heartbreak, through endless goodbyes, their love has survived. But now time has run thin. The fight ahead is no longer just for survival. It is for the end of their story. The music builds slowly, a blend of strings and drums, like footsteps marching toward destiny. We see silhouettes, Claire standing before the stones, Jamie holding his weapon, shadows moving in the mist. No faces are shown, only hints, only echoes. The screen flashes text in bold white. The final chapter begins. The voiceover grows stronger. What is left when love has conquered everything? Except the end itself? The section closes with the sound of thunder rolling over the highlands, followed by silence. A single candle burns in a dark room. Its flame flickers, throwing shadows on old letters scattered across a wooden table. The ink is faded, but the words carry memories that time cannot erase. The screen stays faceless, but every image is heavy with meaning. The voiceover whispers, "Their love was never meant to follow the rules of time." We see a spinning wheel turning, wool unraveling into thread, a symbol of the fragile line that connects past to present. In the distance, the sound of marching boots echoes, reminding us of battles that once shook the earth beneath them. The imagery shifts, raindrops falling on stone steps, a blood-stained hand gripping soil, a tear sliding down a cheek that remains unseen. These are fragments, broken pieces of a life lived across centuries. Every shot feels like a memory half forgotten, yet unforgettable. The voice rises with emotion. Through warfields and prison walls, through castles and strangers' lands, Claire and Jamie stood unshaken. When fate tore them apart, time itself brought them back, again and again, until now. The montage grows faster. A ship's sail catching wind, a book slammed shut, a door flung open to a storm, all faceless, all symbolic. A child's laughter echoes faintly, followed by silence, then a clock ticking, each second sharper than the last. The sound of the ticking grows louder, as if reminding us that their borrowed time is running out. On screen, text appears in gold against a black background. Love that defied centuries, battles that shape destiny, a journey that must end. The voice concludes the section with a solemn tone. The legacy of Outlander has always been more than love and war. It is the story of holding on when the world says to let go. But even the strongest hearts cannot stop the turning of time. The candle that burned at the beginning finally gutters out, leaving only darkness. The screen opens on storm clouds rolling across the highlands. A raven perches on a branch, wings trembling before taking flight into the dark sky. Its cry fades into the wind, carrying a sense of warning. The voiceover whispers, "The future they dreamed of is no longer certain. Shadows from the past rise to meet them once more, and every secret left unspoken now demands its price." A door creaks open in slow motion. The camera shows only the shadow stretching across the floor. No faces appear, just the sense of someone waiting, someone watching. A hand clutches an old letter, the paper torn and burned at the edges. A whisper overlays the sound of crackling fire. Some truths cannot stay buried. The music shifts into a haunting rhythm, drums echoing like distant thunder. Quick flashes strike across the screen. The sharp blade of a sword lifted in defiance. A map spread out across a table marked with symbols of war. A storm at sea, waves crashing violently against a ship. A lone figure running across the moors at night, chased by shadows. The narration deepens. Enemies thought defeated return with vengeance. Friends once trusted may now betray. And love, though unbreakable, will be tested in ways they never feared. The pace quickens, horses galloping, letters torn apart, footsteps echoing in a narrow corridor. Every image faceless, yet filled with urgency. A baby's cry pierces the soundscape, echoing into silence. Then, a single candle lights in the darkness, illuminating a silver ring resting on the table. The voiceover grows sharper. Season 8 is not a new beginning. It is a reckoning. Every choice, every sacrifice, every moment of love and loss will return to demand its due. The screen fades to black. Then, with a sudden flash, words appear. New alliances, old enemies, final choices. The raven from the opening shot lands once more, this time on a broken gravestone. Its wings spread wide, before the screen cuts to silence. The silence shatters with the sound of steel clashing. Sparks fly across the screen as swords collide in the dark. The camera does not show faces, only the blur of movement, the violence of history repeating itself. The voiceover booms. Every love has battles, but some battles are fought for the soul itself. We see the pounding of horses' hooves against muddy ground, torches burning in the night, rain pelting down as shadows run through the storm. A letter is dropped in the mud, its words dissolving in the rain. The music rises into a thunderous swell, strings racing, drums pounding like war calls. Quick flashes strike like lightning, a hand tightening around a silver ring, the edge of a blade breaking against stone, a book closing shut as if sealing secrets forever. Claire's silhouette touching the stone circle, her hand trembling before pulling back. The voiceover lowers, heavy and sharp. They have bent time itself. They have conquered distance, war, and despair. But fate has one final test, and not all who begin this journey will see its end. A baby's wail cuts through the storm. The screen fades to black. Then, slowly, a single heartbeat thuds, echoing louder and louder. On-screen text in bold white. This is where their story ends. The imagery explodes into a rapid-fire montage. Fire consuming a house, armies charging across the mist, waves crashing against a shore, lovers reaching for each other through the darkness. Every cut is fast, frantic, unstoppable. The music reaches its peak, then suddenly stops. Silence again. A single line delivers the weight of it all. Time will never hold them. But destiny will. The screen fades into blackness. Out of the darkness, golden letters appear. The screen is black. Silence holds for a moment. Then faintly the sound of footsteps on stone. Slow, steady, as if someone is walking toward destiny. The voiceover softens, no longer booming but personal, almost like a whispered confession. Love was their beginning. Time was their enemy. Destiny is their end. The camera shows only fragments. A hand brushing over wildflowers in the wind. A shadow cast across an old wooden floor. A drop of water sliding from a cliff into the depths below. Every image is faceless, but filled with meaning, as though the story itself is speaking. A clock begins to tick again. Not fast, but painfully slow. With each tick, we see moments pass in flashes. A letter sealed with wax. A ring left on a table, a single candle burning low. The voiceover continues, steady and mournful. For years, they have fought against centuries, against war, against fate itself. But even the strongest love must face its final hour. The music here is different, softer, strings drawn like a lament, carrying sorrow but also peace. On screen, words fade in one by one. One last battle. One last goodbye. One last love story. The sound of wind rushes through the stones at Craigh once more. A faint echo follows like a memory. Laughter, whispers, a promise long ago made. The voiceover concludes, gentle but unforgettable. Outlander is not just their story. It is ours. A story of holding on, of letting go, and of believing that love in every lifetime leaves a mark that time itself cannot erase. The final image, the standing stones bathed in twilight. A single bird flies into the horizon. The screen fades to black. The screen is black. Silence lingers. The trailer seems complete. Then, a sudden spark of fire. A torch flares in the darkness. The sound of boots crunching against gravel echoes. The voiceover low and mysterious. But every ending leaves behind a secret. The camera shows only shadows moving across an old stone corridor. A door creaks open, revealing nothing but blinding white light. A gust of wind rushes out, carrying faint whispers that sound like voices from another time. Quick flashes interrupt the silence. A dagger dropped onto the ground, its blade stained. Pages of a journal flipping violently as if caught by invisible hands. The silhouette of Claire reaching for something just out of sight. Jamie's shadow stepping forward before fading into the mist. The music begins again, but this time softer, almost like a heartbeat returning. Each beat carries weight, as if time itself is pulsing in the background. The voiceover sharpens. The stones still whisper. The past is never silent, and some journeys never truly end. A raven screeches overhead, the same one from before, circling against a storm-lit sky. The sound cuts sharply, leaving an eerie quiet. On screen, a single line fades into view, silver against the black. The screen is dark. A single soft violin note plays, long and aching. Slowly, the image of the standing stones emerges, bathed in moonlight. The camera does not move closer. It only lets the stones stand, tall and silent, like guardians of a story now complete. The voiceover is quiet, steady, almost like a whisper from the past. From the first step through the stones to the final heartbeat of their journey, Outlander has been a story of love, of loss, and of the courage to fight for both. Images appear in fragments, like fading memories. A ring glinting in the firelight, a hand holding another across time, a candle burning low until it finally dies out. The music swells gently, not with the power of battle drums, but with the soft ache of farewell, strings and voices that feel like both sorrow and gratitude. The voice continues. They have walked through centuries. They have faced war, betrayal, and heartbreak. But what remains when the battles are over is love, always love. On screen, glowing words appear in gold against the black, for the fans, for the journey, for the love story that time could not break. The stones fade back into the mist. Silence holds for a moment. Then, one last heartbeat. Steady, strong. The final card appears, bold and luminous.